A good old-fashioned establishment stitch-up, and that's what it feels like.
Obviously, he's very disappointed, as anyone would be if they lose a long and prolonged court battle. And secondly, he's always angry. And so he's sort of doing what he does so often, which is to blame other people. Everybody seems to be against him. He's in the right, everybody else is in the wrong.
I don't know how much longer my father has. He won't speak to me because of this security stuff.
It's very sad because it didn't have to be like this at all. I mean, absolutely didn't. And, I think it's a shame to vent that sort of feeling, but that is what they do the whole time. They're always telling us what they think and what they feel and telling us that we're in the wrong and they're in the right. Basically, that's what he's trying to do. I mean, he also says that, he isn't in touch with his father, the king. Well, I don't know why that is. I mean, whether he has tried, or I always understood that the king had left the door wide open for him. But I think it needs a little bit of effort on both sides. And as far as I could see, the king's been very reasonable and hasn't responded to any of the jibes against him. And I'm sure he won't respond to this.
Hello everyone, we're diving straight into the deep end today, discussing Hugo Vickers' blatant bias against Prince Harry. Hugo Vickers, a noted royal biographer, has on numerous occasions exhibited an undeniable partiality against Prince Harry. The instances are numerous, each one more dismissive than the last, painting a picture of bias that's hard to ignore. Take, for instance, the issue of security. For Harry, it's been a fight for basic protection, a fundamental right for any individual, royal or not. Yet Vickers has shown a tendency to downplay this legitimate concern. Instead of taking into account the genuine threats Harry and his family might face, Vickers has chosen to belittle these fears, reducing them to mere complaints. This is not the only instance where Vickers' bias has come to light. In fact, his dismissive attitude towards Harry's concerns extends to the well-being of Harry's family as well. The toll of being cast aside by the royal family, the emotional strain it has put on Harry and his loved ones, is something Vickers seems to conveniently ignore in his commentary. What's more, Vickers has a penchant for labelling Harry as a complainer. It's a narrative he's been pushing, portraying Harry as someone who's constantly whining rather than as someone who's raising legitimate concerns about his safety and the welfare of his family. This narrative is not only unfair, it's downright cruel. And let's not forget Vickers' bias isn't just shown in his criticism of Harry, it's also evident in his defence of King Charles. Despite the emotional harm and abandonment Harry has faced, Vickers continues to paint Charles as a misunderstood figure, absolving him of any responsibility. This narrative, propagated by Vickers, is not only tired, it's cruel. It's time we start recognising it for what it is, a blatant display of bias against Prince Harry. Harry deserves better. He deserves to be heard, to be understood, and most importantly, to be treated with fairness and compassion. Now let's turn our attention to Vickers' defence of King Charles, which is as baffling as it is concerning. Hugo Vickers, a royal biographer, has made a name for himself with his staunch defence of King Charles, a stance that raises more questions than it answers. This unwavering support, despite Charles's lack of paternal compassion towards his son, Prince Harry, is troubling to say the least. Prince Harry, as we know, has been through the ringer. He's experienced emotional harm, abandonment, and a struggle for basic protection. Simple rights that every individual deserves, especially from their family. Yet, in the face of all this, King Charles has remained aloof, showing a lack of support that borders on neglect. This is where Vickers' defence becomes particularly jarring. In his narrative, King Charles is painted as a misunderstood figure, a man trapped in unfortunate circumstances. But let's be clear, there's a significant difference between being misunderstood and disregarding the emotional well-being of one's child. Vickers' interpretation conveniently sidesteps the fact that Harry's pleas for support were met with silence. It's a narrative that reeks of bias, one that dismisses Harry's legitimate concerns and experiences. This isn't a fair analysis, it's a calculated character assassination. In his relentless defence, Vickers doesn't just deny the reality of Harry's experiences, he validates Charles's neglect. It's a dangerous precedent that not only shields Charles from accountability but also undermines Harry's fight for security and emotional wellness. We need to remember that at the heart of this issue is a man who was left to fend for himself by those who should have been his strongest support system, This isn't about royal politics or public image, it's about basic human empathy, something that Vickers seems to have forgotten in his fervent defence of King Charles. King Charles's neglect is not leadership, and Hugo Vickers' defence of such behaviour is downright disgraceful. It's time we stop letting bias cloud our judgment and start holding those responsible accountable. It's time we stand with truth, fairness and compassion, because at the end of the day, that's what truly matters. While Vickers is busy attacking Harry, he's conveniently ignoring the real issues at hand. It's time we delve into the heart of the matter, the concerns that have been overlooked, the issues that have been dismissed. Let's talk about Harry's safety. This isn't a trivial matter, a passing concern to be brushed under the rug. It's fundamental. Every person, royal or not, deserves the right to feel safe, to know their family is protected. Yet Harry's fight for this basic right has been dismissed, trivialized, and even mocked. This isn't a case of a prince crying wolf, it's a father fighting for his family's security. And then there's the well-being of Harry's family. This isn't just about physical safety, it's about mental and emotional well-being too. The constant scrutiny, the relentless media attention, the harsh and often unjust criticism, all these take a toll. Imagine the strain it puts on a family, the sleepless nights, the worry, the stress. It's not a life anyone would choose, and yet it's the life Harry and his family have been forced to endure. Now, let's address the elephant in the room, the emotional toll of being cast aside. Harry didn't choose to be born a royal. He didn't ask for the life he was given. Yet he was expected to play by the rules, to fit into a mould, and when he couldn't, when he chose to prioritize his mental health and his family's well-being, he was cast aside, abandoned. The ramifications of such an experience are profound and long-lasting. Vickers' relentless criticism of Harry isn't just unfair, it's hateful. It's an attack, not just on Harry, but on truth, fairness and compassion. It's a blatant disregard for the real issues, a deliberate attempt to shift blame and avoid accountability. It's time to stop blaming Harry and start holding those accountable, like King Charles. As we wrap up today's discussion, it's clear that the narrative spun against Prince Harry needs to change. We've journeyed through the blatant bias of Hugo Vickers, explored his unfounded defence of King Charles, and shed light on the real issues at hand: Harry's safety, his family's well-being, and the emotional toll of being cast aside. We live in a world where discourse is often shaped by those with louder voices, but it's crucial that we listen to the quieter ones too. Prince Harry's fight for basic protection and accountability isn't a complaint, it's a call for fairness. It's about time we stopped blaming Harry and started addressing the true culprits of his distress. The truth may be uncomfortable, but it's necessary for progress. Let's challenge the narratives that dismiss and belittle Harry's experiences. Thank you for joining us today. If you found this video insightful, please subscribe, hit that like button, and don't forget to share it with others. Let's continue to have these important conversations.